Hello and welcome to Hero Cockowl's Bioshock Infinite Clash in the Clouds. Today I decided to do the Ops Zeal. This map is probably the easiest map. And I tried to edit the video so that it would be quick and to the point. And there are these little things called blue ribbon challenges that you'll notice. Like this one, you have to defeat everyone only using the Skyline Strike. And it's pretty easy. Pretty much just go quickly, and then if you light up on someone, just attack them, go back on the Skyline, rinse and repeat, and go from there. But it's fairly easy to do, so you don't need to worry. But blue ribbons kind of just help with your score and or money. So if you want to unlock things faster, you might want to do those first. And yeah, so basically, I played this a bit, so I already have some upgraded stuff. You'll notice my shield is all maxed out, and my mana is, or not mana, keep doing that, my salts, my ability to use vigors, is almost maxed out, and my health is not even close. Because I use shields and vigor quite a bit more. And there are 15 waves at a, that you need to complete to beat the Ops Zeal Clash in the Clouds. So it's not too difficult really, especially since you're given all the weapons you can ever have. And pretty much I kind of, oh, and that you'll notice that's one of my gear's abilities. If I drop a weapon, it'll allow that weapon to shoot, like become an entity and start shooting at enemies. Even if it is empty, like the ammo is empty, it will still fire. So very helpful. I suggest you use it if you ever come upon it, because it'll make it easier to fight enemies. So, yeah, I mean, I'll shut up sometimes so you guys can watch what's going on, but I really like to use the handgun. It's one of my go-to weapons, and I kind of try zooming in, zooming out, shooting quickly, to I don't know, kind of like quick scope, if you guys have heard that term. Also, one of my other gears allows me to set enemies, I wouldn't say on fire, it allows me to electrocute them. So that's very helpful, and you always want to make sure that you loot, unless the blue ribbon challenge says you shouldn't. Like in this case, I have to use a shotgun or a Skyline Strikes only.
Hey, don't point that at me.
So, I've already upgraded a few of the weapons completely, and I've gotten a lot of the achievements for the DLC. But it's definitely a good time. I suggest you play it. And a really good strategy is to get in where all the action is, because the more kills you get in quick, rapid succession, the more points you get. Although it might be small at first, it will build up over time. Like, I believe one kill is normally 5 Silver Eagles multiplied by whatever round you're on. So, since I'm on wave 3, or round 3, each kill I get is going to be 15 Silver Eagles. So, if you get to round 15, if you have normal soldiers, pretty much every kill you get on that is going to be pretty massive. So even if you don't do well with your rank, because you can get globally ranked, it's a fun time. You can still get a lot of cash to unlock better upgrades for your vigors or your weapons. And it's not necessary. I feel like after a few times playing this, it's not necessary to complete the blue ribbon challenges. And the only reason I failed that one there was because of my gear I was using. Because I got a headshot on the guy and it didn't kill him, I believe he got electrocuted and that killed him instead of the machine gun. So, you know, inconvenient. Just be aware of what you're using and use it effectively. And yeah, I mean, I have a pretty good shield upgrade, so I'm just playing it safe here, because I really don't use my vigors that much, but I only use them when I need to for the blue ribbon challenges, or, you know, upgrade. It's just, it happens. But when you are using your vigors, what I suggest you do is, unless you have to use only specific types, use them in combination. Like, if you'll notice, I have Shock Jockey, primarily, along with Undertow. Now, what's really helpful about both of these is Shock Jockey stuns, while Undertow can get a victim wet, so combined, it does a massive amount of damage. And also, what's really helpful about Undertow, especially in Bioshock Infinite, is you can blow enemies away just with like a splash of water over the side. They're done for, and that's just for mainly soldiers. But you know, it can work on I believe firemen, zealots, and let's see, RPG soldiers. So it actually is a very helpful weapon. Yeah, and the only reason I didn't adhere to the little blue ribbon challenge was because I honestly didn't care. And you'll notice that there are tears all about, and I believe if you use a tear when you're not supposed to, like you have to use only your pistol or hand cannon here, it will not allow you to complete the blue ribbon challenge. It will say failure. Or you failed the blue ribbon challenge. Well, that's because you used something that they didn't want you to. Because it could technically be very easy. You could get a med pack while you're being attacked by this guy, or you could use the automated gun turret, drawing his attention away from you possibly. So it all depends on what you want to do. But yeah, this was one of the challenges I really just derped around with and didn't pay attention to. You're not supposed to, for this challenge, you're not supposed to loot corpses or weapons, and the first few times I played this, I'm like, alright, that sounds easy, and it's like, oops, I looted a corpse, oops, I did, and I would just get really mad, because I would be extremely stupid, and I mean, it was an easy thing, too. By the way, you'll notice that I, am hiding behind this. Not exactly, I mean, it's an okay idea, but honestly, I wouldn't do that against any heavy hitters. So, let's see, what else? Oh yeah. I suggest if you want to upgrade any weapons, pretty much anything you're comfortable with, because it really doesn't matter what you upgrade. Just whatever you can use well. Like, for me, the hand cannon works, and so, I mean, I can use it along with many other weapons, but really, whatever you can use when it doesn't matter what type of kills you get, like what type of weapon or vigor you use, just use whatever's comfortable. Because if you think, oh, I'm up against this enemy, I'm gonna need lots of damage like an RPG, no. Because easily a heart shot can do much more damage than an RPG to, say, like the legs or something. I know that sounds really stupid, because any sort of explosive is gonna hurt, but this is gaming logic here. Keep with me. So, yeah. For this one, you only can use zoomable weapons while they're zoomed. Basically, what I do is take out those first two snipers, then basically go from there, because you can only shoot while you're zoomed. And I was occasionally just really didn't care, so I occasionally no-scoped. That's a little bit of a COD term, but it's fairly recent. And this little area up top here on the Zeal map is pretty good because I got a double kill very quickly and easily. And it's a nice place to hold up when you're not against heavy hitters, because everyone will come to you via skyhook, and you can take them out with just a few shots. Or, like me, just one shot to the head. Like a boss.
Show some spine, milk
Yep, he's coming to me, and boom. Oh, nice. Boom. There we go. And for the looting challenge, you cannot loot until it says blue ribbon challenge completed. So when it says that, you can start to loot everything. It's kind of weird, but it's funny. Alright, defeat all enemies using only tears, possession traps, and return to sender traps. Alright, I suggest to you, probably one of the best tears to use, the Tesla coil, which you'll see. Very easy to use. And the only reason I'm taking the pistol is to kind of discourage myself from using weapons. But, you'll notice, I fail a bit, because one of the, I believe, volley gunners accidentally gets out of the Tesla coil's range and starts to shoot at me, but accidentally hits one of the zealots. And because of the friendly fire that killed him, it didn't count. So it was kind of a pain in the butt. So I suggest basically get one enemy captured in the Tesla coil's range, and then basically keep the others occupied with something else, like just chasing you or possession traps. But be careful, because if the possession traps last for a long enough time for them to kill each other, then that'll take away from your own blue ribbon challenge. Because if one kills the other, it'll be known as friendly fire and it won't count. Yeah, I know, it's a pain to worry about, but you gotta bear with it. These are mostly tedious challenges, but some of them are actually quite entertaining. Not like that, that was painful, but... And since I failed, I kind of was just like, you know what, I don't have to do it now. So, pretty much just did what I wanted to. And went from there. So, what you're going to want to do is pretty much either adhere to the challenge or just go completely destructive using your best weapons and gear possible. So whenever doing the blue ribbon challenge, just always keep in mind your environment, what effects your vigors and weapons will have, and what effects your gear will have. Because those can all factor in and screw up the challenge, and then you'll be like, why did I fail it? You'll go back through everything, like, in your mind, if you are remembering it. You'll be like, oh, I'm an idiot, I forgot that I had this gear, and it causes people to electrocute themselves, so, you know, it's what it is. But, because I believe for this blue ribbon challenge, you don't want to hit anyone in the head or heart. I grabbed the RPG because I can use splash damage to my advantage. You can also pick the volley gun, but because I'm very good with the hand cannon, I know that I can aim not at their head, but at their, per se, maybe chest or legs, because you don't want to hit the head or heart of the handyman or anyone else. So, yeah, I mean, it's what it is.
You bet.
And when you don't need to worry about tears or vigors, use them to your full advantage. Also, you'll notice the handyman wanted you to get down from the skyline. Well, he'll start to electrocute it, and you'll hear a large, kind of like a metal bending and screeching sound. It's really just to get you off, and nothing else. And if you have good gear to sprint with, or just are good at sprinting away from him, you know, just use that, and you'll be fine. Yeah, and at the end, I almost get a heart shot with the RPG on him, and I was, like, extremely... I'm like, no! I was, like, desperate. To a certain degree. Yeah, and friendly fire didn't cause any problems there, which is a good thing. Yeah, the decoy is really, really helpful. I think just making that to your full advantage with any of the heavy hitters. Except maybe the siren. Because the siren, really, her main deal is to just resurrect and go from there. She really doesn't attack you that much. But, I suggest if you start getting the infusion upgrades, I'd start with shield. But that's just me, because you can break your shield, go back into cover, recover your shield and not your health, and then just go back, rinse and repeat. And it may take a while, but you can deal with it. And I was kind of stupid, and I forgot that this was a siren level, and the challenge is to take her down before she resurrects anyone. And this is a somewhat difficult thing to do if you're not used to taking her down. Now, I haven't really tinkered with what she can do, meaning vigors, but I'm pretty sure she can take a few hits. So it's pretty difficult, for me at least. If you find out anything like her weakness or what she, you know, like weak points in her programming or anything, like let me know. You know, comments. Also here, the people she resurrects, I got a triple kill I believe at one point from them. So it's really helpful. Yeah, look at that, triple kill. So you can technically farm off as much as you want, but it really just gets tedious. I tried skyhook striking, but that didn't work. And you will get pushed off the map occasionally, so as long as it's not by a handyman, I think you're fine. Because you'll notice that she just pushed me off, and I didn't, like the entire game didn't end. But I remember at one point I was a handyman, or I was against a handyman, and he threw me off the entire kind of like map, and I died. And it's like, wait, I've done this before. Why isn't it letting me respawn? Well, you need to be careful with what you do. And so I suggest being very careful with what you do, like that. If you're not careful with your surroundings, you'll get pushed off, and there'll be many problems. Also, I don't suggest using the heater shotgun because it doesn't have a huge ammo capacity, and it's not the most helpful weapon, or at least what I've found. Also, one of the pieces of gear I'm wearing gives me the ability to sprint 50% faster for 5 seconds after my shield is broken. So it's pretty helpful in a pinch, but really just matters to you whatever your gameplay style is. I also believe I have this pants gear which allows me to gain health for a melee kill. And it's also pretty helpful, especially if you use the Skyline strike pretty frequently. Because on the soldiers, they're pretty much like a one-hit KO type thing. Alright, so I kind of ran into this not exactly thinking my most brilliant strategy, but you really want to be careful, because if you use the skyhooks a lot, you're going to be, I guess, kind of out of your element. Because for this challenge, you're not supposed to use the skyhooks or any of the freight hooks. So basically what I suggest using are the tears and vigors. And pretty much, if you want to take out the heavy hitter, I suggest pretty much any weapon you feel comfortable with, along with Undertow and Shock, because those seem to be a really good combo against pretty much, I don't know, every heavy hitter I've run into so far. And I just kind of have some fun here with the pepper gun, or the crank gun. And the only reason I use Undertow a lot more than I used to is because it's really fun. You can bring enemies to you. You can throw them off, like literally you can just blast them off the map, and it'll be a lot of fun. Now you'll notice that I dropped the crank gun, and let's say you use it all up all of the ammo. Well, if you do, you can drop that weapon in a highly populated area of enemies, and it'll start to go to work like you've never seen. Like literally, it'll just go one way, and then it'll be like done on an RPG soldier. And I don't know if you know about this, but those guys are pretty tough and annoying to deal with. So, yeah, it's a pretty helpful thing. And this challenge is to defeat the entire wave in 1:15, so I kind of just start to shoot at them, thinking, oh, I need to just shoot at them, I can't use vigor. And I'm like, wait a sec, I'm allowed to use vigor. So I start using everything. I have 3 of the 4 enemies here. And then I decide to use Undertow, because that's actually a really good idea. You can just force them off the ledge. It's very quick and easy. Bam. Just like that, you're already down 75% of your enemies. See? Nothing to it. That's why they had them so close together. I guess it was a easier task than thought. But, yeah, it's actually a really fun game mode. I don't know if you've ever played, Call of Duty Zombies, either World at War, Black Ops 1 or 2. But, it's kind of similar to it, where you get tougher and tougher challenges, or, tougher and tougher zombies as you go along in the rounds. But, it's a lot of fun. And so, I can't wait to finally finish the Duke and Dimwit Theater map, go on to the Raven's Dome map, then I believe the Emporium? Either way, yes, it's kind of like a snow map, and it's really cool looking, and I tried 1 round of it, and it is pretty intense. Like, you know how round 1 was just like, haha, 5 soldiers, oh, it's so simple. Well, pretty much they have like a few RPG soldiers, a few normal soldiers, and then like 2 patriots, and it's like, oh, just 2? And I mean, by that time you're used to dealing with them, but it's just kind of annoying. Yeah, and the handyman kind of just forced me off the skyline, and I kind of got impulsive and somewhat mad at him because he made me get off the skyline. So I shot him when I was not on the skyline, unlike the challenge wanted me to do. And so I basically kind of just took him on completely. Yeah, I mean, I suggest using Undertow against most of the enemies if they're in large groups. I also suggest using the Tesla coil or the automated gun tears. Because, or the decoy, because that one works really well on the handyman, and it's really fun when he starts hitting it, because you're like, you seriously can't tell the difference between a guy who's 5 feet away from you and the guy you're hitting. And you'll hear the firemen behind me. Yep. Basically, you just want to keep pretty good note and tab of your surroundings, and you can do fairly well in this game. It's a lot of fun, though. I suggest you play it, and there's a season pass that will allow you to get all the DLC that they come out with. That includes this, and the Burial at the Sea, both episodes that they're coming out with for Bioshock Infinite. So, with that in mind, I suggest you get the Seasons Pass. I believe it's like $20 at Steam. So, you know, fun times. Hey, buddy. And this was strange because it was, I think it was allowing me to only use Shock Jockey and Headshot. And you'll notice that I got the Headshot with the Shock Jockey. But I think it was, again, my gear that got in the way, so it was kind of infuriating that that happened. So I'm kind of like, okay, I don't care if I don't use Shock Jockey, but I use it anyways to get some practice in. Because I'm going to do this map again to see if I can get all 15 ribbons without screwing up in an extremely stupid manner. Because that's going to happen. I mean, you'll just be like playing like you normally would in a game. Clutch shot. And you'll forget, oh yeah, I have to do these challenges. So, yeah, just keep aware of your surroundings, your gear, and your weapons and vigors, and you'll do pretty well. Now, this is the last wave. It's Patriot, I believe, a Patriot and 2 Handymen. Basically, what I think is, since you can't really use possession to finish off any enemy, even the Patriot, that's off the list. I really don't like using Return to Sender, so that's off the list. And you have Devil's Kiss, Murder of Crows, Shock Jockey. Bucking Bronco doesn't exactly finish off, so that's also off the list. Charge is, and you'll see at the end of the video, you can use that, especially if you whittle down the enemy with weapons, which you can for this challenge. but you're going to want to be very careful because there are two handymen, and these guys chuck giant balls of electricity at you, and I almost died here, and if it wasn't for me moving really quickly to the single resurrection activation, I would have probably died. Or, you know, failed to get the score that I did. Which I believe was like over 10,000, so congrats to me. But I suggest if you really aren't the best and you want to finish all 15 rounds with a completed score, not like a partial score, I suggest buying that single resurrection. Because you'll notice here I get hit by some of the handyman's splash damage, and I didn't even see that coming. And so I come out the door, and I come up with the plan, okay, well if this happens again, I'm going to want a new resurrection. So since I have the money, I buy another one, which, by the way, is twice the price it was that game already. Yeah, you're going to want to be very careful on this round, because these guys are not particularly kind. But basically, what I do is, I believe, I whittle down one of the handymen with the Shock Jockey Undertow combo, then hit him with some of the Devil's Kiss, and since I finished him off with that, it'll count that as one of the figures I used to kill him. And Kiss, so since that's off my list, what I can use to finish off enemies now is Undertow, Shock Jockey, Murder of Crows, Charge. Pretty much those four are the main ones you can use. I believe I use Shock Jockey and Undertow to finish off the Patriot. So, you know, it really doesn't matter what you use, but I'm just finding Shock Jockey and Undertow to be very effective against the Patriot, because you can stop him and expose his gears, and you get a lot of cash for using these types of combos. And if you don't use salts from other rounds, you can bring in that tear, which allows you to get more salts. Also, medical supplies. Yeah, don't run into the handyman, by the way, because he's a real pain in the ass, if you know what I mean. And a few times with the Undertow. And just make sure you don't do bigger combos, because you either confuse yourself through the game, and it's not exactly a fun time for the Blue Ribbon Challenge, because you don't want to mess up after going through all that. So, since I know that I've used Devil's Kiss and Undertow, I can technically use Murder of Crows and Shock Jockey and Charge. So, basically, what I do is I whittle him down with all these other weapons, and you'll see what happens in the end. But, I use Charge. Bam! So, yeah, I finished the map. Thanks for watching. And I have done all of the Blue Ribbon challenges before. I just didn't do them all this time. So, thanks for watching. This is Hawkowl the Brave, and I'm signing out. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, maybe subscribe. Comment how I can improve the videos as well. Have a nice day.